Hey, what's going on, guys? Nicholas Rostakis, Chelsea Football Channel, and today Chelsea won, Bournemouth 0. What the heck was that game, dude? That was a ridiculous game. You know, it seems like I'm happy, but I'm more in shock based off of everything that happened. I think there was 15 yellow cards, a Premier League record. Anthony Taylor, what were you doing? It's like he doesn't even know, dude. He gave that first yellow within the first 2 minutes, and he's like, oh, let me just get the record. It's insane. I cannot believe what happened in this game, dude. Chelsea in the first half. Let's talk about it. Let's just jump straight in. Chelsea in the first half. Horrible. They're horrible. There's no way else to say it. They were absolutely atrocious. There was no tactics. There was no possession. Oh well, there was possession, but there wasn't anything to build off of it. Bournemouth were doing everything they wanted to with their counter attack. When they had the ball in possession, they were doing what they needed to. Like they were talking, they also were saying, of course, the possession statistics. It was like 71% possession at one point, and Bournemouth had 29. And they were like, wow, Chelsea have 71% possession, but they have less chances by like seven. And that's, I think, what it finished. I think it was like 19 shots to 10 to end this game. Bournemouth were the better team, I think, in this one and had chances all throughout this game to score. But you had chances in the first half. Bournemouth, you had the penalty that again, Wesley Fofana. Let's talk about these two guys first. Wesley Fofana, the back pass, especially on the Twitter, they tried to not blame it. It was like, oh, Sanchez saves himself after his mistake. I'm like, dude, Wesley Fofana's back pass is the reason that Sanchez has to commit himself. He didn't make that foul. It's a goal. It's that simple. But instead, Sanchez makes up for. Not only does he make up for Wesley Fofana, he makes up for himself in a way too, I guess, by saving the pen. Robert Sanchez is the goat, dude. After this game, we'll hop into his statistics in a second, but wow, what an outstanding it was an outstanding save by him. But then you think that maybe after the penalty, oh yeah, Chelsea, they gotta be hyped, right? All the guys were hyped. They saw that, they're like, let's go, Rob, let's go, Rob. They were just as dog shit. They were just as bad. It was horrible. They didn't know what the hell they were doing. And then they got back in this. You get in the second half, and you're like, hmm, all right, maybe we'll see some more progression. We were a great second half team in the Wolves game. You figured maybe the Wolves result would be similar to what we see in Bournemouth. Of course, we weren't as bad in the Wolves game as we were in this one in the first half. Of course, the defense was a lot better in this one, but there were still some lackluster defensive things in this one. But we'll talk more about that in a second. But again, you get into the second half and you're like, nothing's changed. The first 15, 20 minutes, again, nothing's changed. And then all of a sudden, you have this main subs come on. You have Jadon Sancho who came on. When he came on in that second half, he was incredible. He was the difference maker. In my opinion, my player of the match. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. He was my player of the match. Absolutely amazing debut. It can't go much better. He was brilliant on the ball. His passing was great. He nutmegged like three guys. He got the assist for the Christopher Nkunku winner, a guy who didn't even play. Nkunku gets put on in like the 77th, 78th minute. When you have this much quality on our bench, it's impeccable to see how it works. Um, yeah, then great and goal by Nkunku is great. He takes the left-footed touch inside. He takes another touch around a right guy. He just puts it in the bottom right corner. It's not the greatest defending at roll at Bournemouth. They just shut down for a split second Sancho into Nkunku, and he gets his first goal of the Premier League season. Yeah. Otherwise, let's put it this way: like I said in the match preview, Bournemouth are a good team. Did we expect them to look good? Yes. Did we expect Chelsea to look nearly as good? You could say yes. Did this game give us question marks about who maybe should be starting? And is the crisis at the club actually taking a toll on the players? Yeah. There's a good chance it was. After that start in that first half, the guys didn't even know they were playing soccer in that first half, dude. They didn't even know they were kicking a football around. They didn't even know what the hell they were doing. They were like, "Oh, it's nighttime. It's time to go to sleep." It ain't sleep. They won this game. But let's see what we can get out. Let's see what these match ratings are. So this was the lineup that Maresca picked for this match. More of a conventional lineup. You saw Cucurella more of an underlap role. He underlapped past Neto and came through more at the midfield, but he didn't really play a double pivot with Caicedo. It was more of a conventional. You saw Vega and Caicedo kind of stay on their own. and they stayed as like a double pivot themselves. I thought it was a smarter idea in this one. However, it struggled definitely with the right hand side. Wasn't a big fan of how it played out. Again, we'll talk about the player ratings in just a second. Um, Sanchez at first to start. Um, he saved us. It's that simple. He really did save us. Um, if it wasn't for Sanchez in this one, we probably would have lost. A lot of big time stops, big time penalty save. Not much else way to put it. I already crowned him in the previous segment, but thank God Sanchez was in, and thank God that he was starting today. Only thing I'd say again, it's got to be improvement on that distribution, but again, an eight's very fair. I think maybe even a nine can close. Gurrella gets a seven. I think he did very well in that left underlap role. Um, First half I think was better than the second half, but I think that overall he's been very consistent throughout the year. Everybody was booing him again. Everybody hates this guy. It's so funny. They all hate him, but us Chelsea fans love him now. He eats that paella, but he was eating him up. I think it was Semenyo. It wasn't Tavernier. It might have been Semenyo. It possibly could have been Semenyo, but no, Cucurella was doing a great job. Better by one of our most consistent performers. Hope he's going to keep staying in that left back spot. Colwell on the left hand side of the center back pairing, he was very good. Again, another good showing from Colwell after a really good international break. He's been proving himself all year that he's going to be a big time center back for the future, and this was another good performance out of him. Um, I think that his blocks at the end of the game were crucial. You saw that passion he was showing on his chest at the end of that game. I was really hoping to see that of his counterpart too, but Wesley Fofana in that first half was atrocious. Of course, giving up the ball multiple times. The pass earlier in the game that gave him a counterattack, or that he tried to thread a pass through. There was no reason to do it, and then he gave up obviously that stupid ass pass back to Sanchez. So he gets a five because his second half was a lot better after he went to right back for Disasi. If it wasn't for that second half of him being very good in the back, then I think he definitely would have gotten the same rating as Disasi, getting a four. Let's say, actually, before we get to Disasi, if that Fafana pass back led to a goal, he probably would be getting a three or a four, but he doesn't because of that. It's that simple. Um, Disasi was, simply put, not good at all. The first 25 minutes he was on the field, dude, he was atrocious. Nobody wanted to give the ball to this guy. He was ball watching and everything. Dude, that video he did with Malo Gusto, I was like, oh, Dan, I actually feel good from DCC. No, we don't. This guy's horrible. He's trash. 35 million on these Frenchmen, these French center backs, dude. They're trash. They're god awful. They have over 100 and something caps together, and they do nothing. Of course, the DCC is not a right back. I get that. I get that. But it didn't even look like he was playing any position on the field. He looked lost as hell at all times. I don't know how he even stayed on the field past halftime. He should have been part of the subs as well. I couldn't even believe that Neto got taken off first, but it ended up being a good decision. Vega, to put it plain and simply, him and Vega was good. I think that his second half was a lot better. He was getting into free spaces. He was very good in that double pivot. The first half was a little interesting. Of course, it looked a little wishy-washy with him and Caicedo in that first half, but I think both guys needed to just have a good game together. And you saw that, Vega can now give us another option in that midfield. Of course, it's like almost people forgot that Vega has played in the midfield pivot before. He can play this center back role, this left back role, and that pivot role. And I'm glad that excuse me. I'm glad that Maresca gave him a chance in the midfield, honestly, because I much rather would have saw him than Costa, who again didn't even come into this game today. But yeah, six I think was very fair. Again, he could probably deserve the same rating as his counterpart, but Caicedo gets a seven because of his tackling, his interceptions. He's basically everywhere on this field. Caicedo he's trying to become the N'Golo Kante reincarnate for us, but I don't know. It wasn't close enough for me. I'm very happy with his production today. His passes were also very, very good. He had that through ball into Nicholas Jackson that he just overshot a little bit, or he overtouched a little bit, and he tried to like fall on the ground and make it seem like he got tackled. It looked like he did, but I don't think there was anything in it. But again, Caicedo very good tackling, interceptions, overall his job. He did it today. Very, very good outing by him. Let's say with Palmer in the middle, he gets a six. He wasn't creatively deadly as he usually is. They had a man mark on him the entire first half. He got, I think, 3 guys to get yellows in that first half. So he was basically, Bournemouth said, We don't want him on the ball whatsoever. Do anything to get him off the ball. Anthony Taylor shut down that press, basically. They had to let him play a little bit more roam free because of all the yellow cards that were getting distributed. But it wasn't the greatest game for Palmer. He was involved, but he wasn't as involved probably as he wanted to be. Left and right wing and Neto and Madueke, both guys could probably say the exact same thing. Neto he didn't really do a whole lot in this one. There wasn't a whole lot he even I would just say it was as simple as this. He wasn't nearly as effective as Jadon Sancho when he came on. Of course, Palmer came on to that right hand side, and we saw Joe Felix come on. But Neto wasn't very good. Um, but he wasn't. He was about average, as you say. His crossing was okay. His dribbling was about as you'd expect it to be, but he didn't really have that killer runs in behind, or he didn't really create the one on ones with his defenders. He was about mediocre. Same with Madueke. He had chances to score. I think he had 3 shots on target or 3 shots in total or something. But it wasn't about the one on ones in this one. He did a few good things, but again, it was an average performance based off of what we've seen from him so far this season, and such good positive things. Jackson, it's the chances, man. The runs he makes are so good. You saw that Levi Colwill one early in the game where he played that into Jackson. It was just something about that, man. It's just something about the runs he makes in behind are really what get him into good situations. It's just his end product. It's like Mudryk, but he does Mudryk doesn't do any of that. Like Mudryk doesn't like he creates those runs and everything, but like Jackson creates the runs for himself to get into a good position to score, and then just can't score. It's that simple. He had that one that Travers saved, I think, around here on the left side of the box. Travers made a good save, but again, Jackson just couldn't put it away. And now getting into the bench ratings, let's get down here. It's as simple as this. Let's start with Felix. Felix was okay. He came in the midfield, attacking midfield. He created some good opportunities. I think he might have been a little bit better of a six than Palmer was. The only reason I'm like looking at it and I'm like, what are you doing? He was that you saw that stupid yellow card. He pulled Alex Scott's shirt back and he put him to the ground. Like, what was the reason for doing that? That shit pissed me off. Because it's like one of those things where it's like, if you just run by the guy. Just run by him. Why are you needing to do that? I think he was okay though. I don't think he was average. I think his six is about average. Tosin, I think he looked great. He did make that one mistake where he passed in the middle for a nice counterattack for Bournemouth. But again, that was the only mistake that Tosin made today. I think he was fantastic. I could see a world that Tosin gets more playing time because of this, but it also depends on how long these right backs are going to be out for, because it's going to be very hard for Tosin to get playing time in the Premier League with I think Enzo Maresca wanting to do this Wesley and Levi Colwill center back pairing. But I think Tosin to definitely put his name in there after a good performance like this. Um, I think a 7 was very good. He was very good off the bench when he came on. He looked very confident, and his passing was very good outside of that one. Nkunku, scored the goal that won us this game. He wasn't outside of the goal. You weren't really seeing too much out of him, but I think he's in the right places at all times in Kunku. His dribbling, I mean, the way he gets the balls around the defender, he uses his strength to hold the guy behind him basically while he's doing all that effort to score. In Kunku, it's going to be hard to get this guy on the field, but he's making a case for it, and he kind of has to. This guy, he's something special, man. I think, I want to say 3 goals this season now as well. Technically tied for the most in the team, I think, because of the 2 Conference League goals and now this one in the Prem. I think you got to put him in that distribution. There's no way you can hold him off. I think there's a way that he challenges Nicholas Jackson for that starting striker role in the upcoming game, I think against Brighton or West Ham. It's going to be a challenge. I think that Nkunku might have a shot at taking that striker spot. And Sancho, he gets an 8. He was brilliant today. Absolutely brilliant. 45 minutes to prove himself. And man, we just robbed them blind. We robbed Man United blind. Of course, he played 45 minutes in one game. It's been one game of Jadon Sancho. Do I have enough to say that he's going to be a success here? Of course not. But the thing is, he's going to be a Chelsea player for more seasons because we're spending 25 million on him mandatory unless we finish below 14th. Which if Chelsea finish below 14th this season, we're cooked. It's that simple. But an 8 is my player of the match, Jadon Sancho. He's the player who got all of our momentum started in this one. Couldn't really ask for much more on your debut. He's happy he's got off flying. Excellent, brilliant stuff. So my personal opinion, am I happy with how Chelsea played today? No, I think that They took about 65 minutes to get going. Of course, that's not good enough. It's simply not good enough in today's game. I think that, you know, Enzo Maresca is going to go to the press conference and say, "Oh my God, I saw so much progression out of the guys today." It's good to see that they had the fight to come back, have a good last 30 minutes of this game, and get a winner. It's that simple. They had the fight in like last season where they would come back and they would get that goal, that deciding goal. And in this game, it won them the game. And they get a clean sheet. I think they said this is our first clean sheet in an away game for our last 17 away games. This is a big result in a way for Chelsea. So we now move 4 games played in the Prem, 7 points, a big 3 points, a massive 3 points. We needed this win. It bumps us, I think, currently into 8th or 7th in the Premier League table. Of course, you can't judge the Premier League table until there's been about 10 games played. Then you kind of see the discrepancies between points between first to 10th. But right now, you can't really see anything. It's like a 3 point gap to like second or something. So like I think it's actually a 2 point gap to second because Liverpool just lost. I think they're in third or something with 9 points. So it's one of those things where you got to basically judge it yourself, and based off of how you guys play. So right now, I think that we're in a good stretch. Of course, I think we have another away game. I think we play if it is West Ham, we play at Brighton. If or not Brighton, we play at the London Stadium at. I think it both. Like I said, I think it's both away games. I'm not sure. I have to look, but I think it's either the London Stadium, West Ham, or it's the Amex at Brighton. I think it's a good chance we win both those games. We'll talk about it in the future. Thank you much for watching. Peace, guys.